All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all of the attorneys had an opportunity to talk while I was logging on. This is February 13th, 2025. This is the arraignment calendar for 10 a.m. State Court of Clayton County, courtroom 304. I'm Judge Tammy Long Hayward, and I'm going to call the calendars, but before I do, I'm going to make an announcement. For those of you who are here on the arraignment calendar, this may be your first time having your case before the trial court. So this is where your case will be resolved either through a trial, a plea, or some administrative action. Everyone is entitled to have an attorney represent you. If you cannot afford an attorney or you need an attorney appointed to you today, then I can do that for you, but just tell me at the time that I call your name. I'll expect to hear three types of pleas: a not guilty plea, which means that you wish to have a trial. Your trial will take place at a later date. A guilty plea, which is a plea that we can take today. It means you feel you're guilty of the underlying offense and you wish to resolve your case today. Or a nolo plea, nolo contendory, which means you're not contesting the evidence that the state has, but you do wish to enter a plea that does not say that you are guilty, but you do wish to resolve the case. Now, if you enter a plea of not guilty, that means you're going to go to trial. That trial will take place at a later date. I do caution you that while you are able to go to trial without an attorney to assist you, it will severely hamper your efforts to represent yourself, because a judge cannot treat you any differently than they treat someone who has a law degree, someone who's experienced in the rules of evidence and procedure. And getting evidence into the record of the court will be very, very difficult for you. Responding to arguments will be very difficult for you. If you go to trial, the state has the burden of proving the case against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You do not have to present any evidence or testimony or anything. You just have to be present because you have a Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. You do not have to make any statements or present any witnesses. However, if you do wish to do that, you may do that, and you may also challenge any arguments that the state might make. Now, if you were convicted at trial, the maximum penalty could be up to 12 months in jail, a $5,000 fine, or both per offense. If you believed your conviction was a mistake, then you would have the opportunity to appeal that conviction to a higher court within 30 days of the court's verdict. Those are the rights that come with having a trial. If you enter a plea of guilty or nolo contendory today, then you would have the opportunity to you or your attorney would speak with the state. If you can reach an agreement, then the court will hear your agreed upon plea. If not, the court will hear the recommendation from both sides and make a decision. Nolo pleas. If you are entering a plea of nolo, you have to have not used that nolo plea within the last 5 years. So it has to have been 5 years or more since the last time you used a nolo plea for the same or similar offense. So if you've used it for speeding in the last 5 years, you can't use it for speeding again. All right. So please be mindful of that. We have the ability to see if you are nolo eligible, and we'll discuss that with you when your case comes up. Couple of cautions. If you are a commercial driver and your CDL depends on it being active and unblemished, then you might want to research what might happen if you go to trial and get convicted, or if you enter a plea of guilty or nolo, because that could affect your CDL, but we cannot tell you how it could affect your CDL. We are not trained in that information. And the next thing is, if you are a driver who's under the age of 21, it only takes 4 points. I was corrected. I used to say 6, but one of the traffic court attorneys kind of pulled my quote. So it only takes 4 points for you all to get a suspension, and a hard suspension, meaning 6 months with no permit. So please be mindful if you are making a plea that if it is a violation that has 4 or more points, or if you already have points, it may result in a suspension of your license. Okay. All right. So these are this is the information I need to tell you. I'm going to call the calendar. If you are here, I need to know that you are here, but I will probably get the information from your attorney. All right. Hold on just a second. All right, first case on the calendar is Made Jerusa Aguilar Cruz. Okay, I do not see an attorney on this case. Aguilar Cruz. All right.
Requesting a bench warrant bond forfeiture.
All right, last call for Aguilar Cruz. Made Jerusa Aguilar Cruz. All right, bench warrant bond forfeiture. Next case on the calendar is James Obi Chavez, and that's Lister Holton Dennis.
Your Honor, are we on the?
Yeah, I don't have that.
You're calling from the 1 o'clock calendar.
Okay. Okay, I thought I was losing my mind.
Okay, it said number 1 when I opened.
I did not see.
It was listed the first. It was listed number 1 when I went to open my calendar. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Things have been going haywire all morning. I apologize. I am not one who cannot laugh at myself because sometimes I need to. I apologize. Okay, I have found the correct calendar, which is listed number 3, actually. So Derek Lee Beatty.
Your Honor, he's on Zoom.
Mr. Beatty, my apologies.
You're fine.
Sometimes those days are like that. All right, so Mr. Beatty, you're before the court for theft by shoplifting. You do not have an attorney present. Do you need one to assist you, or do you wish to represent yourself?
I would like one.
Okay, so Mr. Beatty, I'm going to appoint the law firm of Lister, Holt, and Dennis. They're going to speak with you, but what I need you to do is, do you understand how to use the chat function on Zoom?
Yeah, I see what it say chat, show captions, etc.
Okay, so when it says chat, click on that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, are you clicked on there?
Yes.
Okay, and then you see a blue name that says everyone.
Yes.
Okay, click on that, and you should have a pull down menu. And I want you to go to courtroom 304.
Right now?
Yes, click on that.
Okay. Yes.
All right, when you click on that, I want you to put your name, your email address, and your phone number in that box and send it. That's going to go directly to the attorneys in the courtroom, and they're going to assist you, okay?
Okay. Would I be hanging up, or this would be after?
No, we're gonna arrange for you to talk to them now. You're just gonna mute your device once you do that, and then they're gonna have the opportunity to call you or to connect with you. Okay?
Okay, and one last thing. I say that because I'm currently on my phone. I'm not on the laptop.
That's okay. You should still be able to use the chat.
Mr. Beatty, we will talk to you further one way or the other. I'll try to.
Okay, so if you send that chat, it should allow you to use the chat even though you're on your phone. And then what they'll do is they'll tell you how they're going to communicate with you. They might text you, they might call you. If they call you and you get disconnected, just come right back in, okay?
Okay.
All right, because you're here now. So I know you're here, and I know people have technical difficulties, much like I did myself. So yeah, if you're having technical difficulties, you can just come back in, same information.
Okay.
All right. All right, next on the calendar is Bruce Kirby Bates. Mr. Bates?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, if we can have an opportunity to speak to Mr. Bates, I'm sure it's something that we can resolve.
All right, Mr. Bates, I think they got some kind of program that they're working on in the solicitor's office. If you wish to speak with them, you may. If you wish to have an attorney appointed to you, you may. So it's your choice, sir.
I would like to speak to them.
Okay, so Mr. Bates, you're gonna have to turn on your camera at some point, but I'm gonna change your name on here so we know who you are and I don't get lost, okay?
Okay.
And then that's easier for them to manage also. All right, so Mr. Bates, at the appropriate time, just they have to be present while I read the calendar, but once I have finished reading the calendar, then I'm going to put you in a breakout room with one of the solicitors and they're going to talk to you about your case, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. You can go ahead and mute your device. All right, Derek Denzel Freeman. Derek Denzel Freeman.
Your Honor, he's in the courtroom, and the state's on a non-prosec case. I have submitted the paperwork for that.
All right, thank you.
You're
Mr.
welcome.
Freeman, you're free to go at this time, sir. Please, you know what got you in this situation. Just govern yourself accordingly, okay? All right, you're free to go at this time. Next is Christian Guerra. Christian Guerra.
Your Honor, the state's on also non-prosec case. I did submit the paperwork for that.
All right, thank you.
Yes, how you doing this morning?
I'm good, Mr. Guerra. Your case is being null pros. You're free to go at this time. Please be safe, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye.
All right, next is Carrie Garland Hamilton. Carrie Garland Hamilton.
State's requesting a bench warrant bond forfeiture.
All right, last call for Carrie Garland Hamilton. Bench warrant bond forfeiture will take place. All righty, Quintel Lamar Hughes. Quintel Lamar Hughes.
Your Honor, he is in the courtroom, and he did indicate that he wishes to have an attorney appointed for his case.
All right, Mr. Holton Dennis, please speak with Mr. Hughes, and you can send me an appointment order. Rod Vincent James Jackson. Rod Vincent James Jackson.
Your Honor,
Yes,
he is in the state's on a non-prosec case. The paperwork has been submitted.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Jackson, you're free to go at this time. Please be safe and please make sure your documents remain in order, okay?
But I don't know what happens. I'm new to this. I'm sorry.
Okay, so they're no prosing it, which means they're not going to pursue the case. That's pretty much what no pros means, not pursuing it, which means that it'll be dismissed. As long as you keep your documents in order and everything's fine, then you're good.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Do you know how I can see the body cam footage of that incident, or how does that go? Because I don't recall any being. I don't know.
If you still need to see it, you can contact the police department, but the case is not going forward, so it's being dismissed.
Okay, this one.
I mean, if you need to see it for insurance purposes or anything like that, that's up to you. But you would have to go to the police department that stopped you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Shanika Shade Jones.
Your Honor, this is on a non-prosec case, and the paperwork has been submitted.
All right, Ms. Jones, that case will be null pros. You're free to go at this time. Thank you. Jacob Korn.
Your Honor, the state's also a non-process case, and that paperwork has been submitted.
All right, that case will be null pros. Jacob Korn, you are free to go at this time. Frederick Martez Love.
Your Honor, he is in the courtroom, and we have a negotiated plea.
All right, Mr. Love, come on up for me. All right, so Mr. Love, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true. You're gonna have to unmute in the courtroom for me. It's not you, Mr. Love. Whoever is behind the desk needs to unmute. Hey, Deputy. All right, so Mr. Love, you can put your hand down. Thank you. So you're before the court on 2022 CR 00692 for Frederick Martez Love. Mr. Love, you're representing yourself. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, are you over 21?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You're before the court for speeding 11 to 15 miles over the limit and no insurance. What is he pleading to, and what did you all agree to, Ms. Haigler?
Yes, the defendant is no longer eligible. So for count one, a fine of $50, and the state's going to non-pros count two.
All right. All right, sir, if you wish to enter a no-low plea for the speeding, but if it's 14 miles or under, I don't think you get points. Is that correct, Ms. Haigler?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, so regular guilty, I'm sorry.
Okay, so yeah, you might want to save your NOLO for something that's going to get you points. This is not going to get you points. Did you wish to enter a plea of guilty or NOLO?
No.
Okay, did you understand what I was saying?
I'm sorry, but you're right, I'm not guilty.
Okay, so my understanding is you want to enter a guilty plea because this is not going to get you points.
Okay.
And then you're going to save your NOLO. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So by doing that, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And Mr. Love, if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. You understand all of these things, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Factual basis.
Yes, Your Honor. On or about December 23rd of 2021, while Officer Robin Robbin Fleming Fleming was conducting a general patrol in the area of Highway 42 and Anvil Block Road, Conley, Georgia, 30288, Clayton County. Officer Fleming was behind the defendant. While behind the defendant was observed traveling 60 miles per hour in a posted 45 mile per hour zone. The officer was able to make that determination during his pace of the vehicle. At that time, a traffic stop was conducted. Officer Fleming made contact with the defendant, explained the reason for the stop, and requested that the defendant provide his driver's license, in which he did comply. During the officer's investigation, it was discovered that the defendant did not have a valid insurance per GCIC. Those are the facts of the case, Your Honor.
All right. So, sir, you've entered a plea of guilty to count one. The fine is $50. It'll be $83.25. Will be no cost. Did you wish to pay that today, or did you wish to have additional time?
Today.
Okay, when you go downstairs, you're going to go downstairs to the second floor, which is right below where you are, okay? When you go downstairs, you're going to come back through the double doors into the hallway. Go to your left until you see the traffic court window. When you go inside for the traffic court window, they'll pull it up by your last name. They'll accept your payment, and they'll give you your paperwork.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes,
All right, be safe.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Excuse me, Judge, was there any reduction in speed on that one?
No, it's 11 to 15.
60 and
correct.
a 45?
Is that what it was?
Let me go back to the.
If he's not going to get points, it has to be a reduction of 1 or 2 miles per hour.
I thought I heard her say
40.
60 and a 45.
Yes, 60 and a 45.
That's 15 miles.
That's 15. So it's between the 11 and 15.
Yeah,
No,
just we'll
so-
reduce it to 58 and a 45.
Okay, thank you. All right, we got you, sir. Thanks, Ms. Wright. I didn't catch that. Alexis Janae Moses. All right, Miss Alexis Moses.
State's requesting a bench warrant bond forfeiture, Your
Your
Honor.
Honor,
I
I
see
believe she's
somebody with
online.
the same spelling of her first name, but she doesn't seem to hear me.
Yes, Your Honor, and she's been, she sent a chat to Mr. Lynch. So he's working with her. I can't assist her because I have a conflict in this case. But she has been online. I saw her earlier.
No, she's here. She just, Miss Moses, can you hear me?
Oh, there she is.
Miss Moses?
She's muted,
Moses,
Judge.
unmute.
Yeah, she's muted, but I'm not. She should be able to hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. I'm sorry. I can hear you. My
Okay.
phone is messed up.
Okay. Mr. Taylor, you said she's working with Mr. Lynch.
That's correct, Your Honor. And
Okay.
she sent us some contact information. I'll have Mr. Lynch follow up with her when he comes back into the courtroom, he's meeting with.
All right, so Ms. Moses, you're here. I'm gonna have Mr. Lynch give you a call or speak with you in the breakout room in a moment, okay?
Okay,
All right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Talia Kiana Murray.
Your Honor, I did speak with Miss Murray. She's currently in the courtroom. It's my understanding that this is a negotiated plea.
All right, come on up, Ms. Murray. Ms. Murray, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. Are you over 21?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you're representing yourself in this case?
I believe so, yes.
What do you mean you think so?
I said I believe so, yes.
Okay, you talked willingly with the solicitor and you all came to an agreement.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with that agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So you're before the court for speeding 21 to 25 miles per hour over the limit. What is the agreement between the state and Ms. Murray, Ms. Ponder?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommendation, well, the agreement was 12 months probation, a $300 fine to take a defensive driving course, title alive at 25. The balance of probation terminates upon the defendant completing the defensive driving course alive at 25 and paying the $300 fine. Your Honor, she is NOLO eligible and the state had no objection to the NOLO.
All right. So Ms. Murray, did you wish to enter the NOLO, which might help you with the points?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down. So you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Talia. Am I pronouncing your name right?
No, ma'am.
Pronounce it for me.
Thalia.
Thalia. Okay. That I've seen it pronounced Thalia, Talia. So Kiana is your middle name and Murray, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So 2022 CR 07481, you're before the court for speeding 21 to 25 miles per hour over the limit. You're entering a plea of NOLO. By doing so, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
I do.
All right. Factual basis, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On September the 14th, 2022, officers conducted a traffic stop on I-75 North and C.W. Grant Parkway located here in Clayton County, Georgia. Officers observed the defendant traveling 89 miles per hour in a 65 miles per hour zone. Those are the facts of the case, Your Honor.
All right. All right. So, ma'am, I'm going to accept your plea. I'll send you a 12 months probation to pay a fine in the amount of $300. The $300 fine is going to be $444 with the surcharges. And you'll take a driver improvement course, which I am very excited about, called Alive at 25, because I have way too many people who, Ms. Jones, I see you. I'm going to answer in a second. I have way too many people who get out on the roads and they think they're Mario Andretti and they don't make it to 25. And I want you to be here. You hear me? Okay. So once you take the course, it's through the Department of Georgia of Driver Services. Is that correct, Ms. Ponder?
That is correct, Your Honor. It's essentially for drivers between the ages of 15 to 24.
Amen.
It's highly interactive course for young drivers.
I like that. All right. So as soon as you finish paying the fines, which will be $444 with the surcharges, and you submit the paperwork for having taken the Alive at 25 course through the Department of Driver Services, then your probation will terminate. So the quicker you get those things done, the quicker that you will be off probation. Now, when you go to find the class, you're going to go to the Department of Driver Services. You're going to either go to their website or you're going to call them. That's the same Georgia department that issues your driver's license. They're going to give you the information about Alive at 25. That is specifically the course that Ms. Ponder is asking you to take. And once you get your certificate from that course, you're going to bring it back into your probation officer, and then they will make sure that you get credit for that, okay? Do you have any questions for me? Speak up a little bit for me.
I don't know if it's for you or if I should ask someone else.
Well, ask me, and everybody else is listening.
I'm not sure where the first court date was sent out, which resulted in the bench warrant.
Okay, if Miss Murray has a bench warrant, let's go ahead and get rid of that.
Yes, Your
And
Honor, she went in custody on her bench warrant and bonded out again.
did she bond out immediately?
I'm not for certain, Your Honor, but I do know that
How long were you in custody, Miss Murray?
A few hours, Your Honor.
Okay, yeah, because that should have been a sign your own bond thing.
I'm not sure what year.
that is correct, Your Honor. She had a 500 OR.
Okay, yeah. So that basically was so what generally happens is whenever you get arrested, if your address on your license when they arrest you, or I'm sorry, when you get the ticket, that's where they're going to send the notice. If you move after that, then it could get confused.
Okay.
And so that's probably what happened. But now that you've resolved this, and as long as you go ahead and sign up with probation, you should be okay.
Okay.
All right. So what you're going to do when you leave the courtroom is you're going to go out and you're going to turn right. Once you exit the courtroom, you're going to go into the next courtroom over. That's 305. Right inside the courtroom, the first set of double doors is an office, and Miss James, the probation expert, is going to be in there. She's going to do your intake, and you ask her any questions that you might have about you successfully completing probation, okay? All right. Miss Murray, just in general in life, I'm going to need you to speak up a little bit.
I'm very soft-spoken.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I know.
I apologize.
Sometimes you got to be a little loud. Okay.
I'll try.
All right. You're like my little sister. When she was in high school, she would call me and I'd be on the phone like I was thinking I was going deaf. And she had a boyfriend named Robert. I called him Silent Bob. It was just everybody was so low, so soft spoken. All right. Take care.
Thank you.
All righty. All right, Miss Jones. Miss Jones has asked a very good question. And she has asked, what does no pros mean? And it is literally the Latin for not prosecuting. So that means that the state is declining to prosecute your case at this time. Now, the state does have 6 months to bring that case back. But if you don't do anything to mess it up, if you don't bring back anything else that gets their attention, then you are good. And so no pros literally means not prosecuted. It means your case is dismissed at this time. And as long as you make it through the next 6 months, it's fine. Okay. Does that answer your question, Ms. Jones? No problem. Thank you. That was a question that everybody probably was wondering a little bit about. Ontario Lamar Porter.
Mr. Porter in the courtroom? Judge, I attempted to reach Mr. Porter. I was unsuccessful. I'm not sure if he's on the Zoom call. I don't see him.
State is requesting a bench warrant bond forfeiture, Your Honor.
All right, let me call out again. Ontario Lamar Porter. I want to make sure everybody has their name. Ladies and gentlemen, if your full name, your first and last name is not on the calendar, go ahead and do that for me right now. Ontario Lamar Porter, I do not see him. He's not in the courtroom. Bench warrant forfeiture. Next case on the calendar is Brittany Trinice Victory. Brittany Trinice Victory.
Your Honor, I did speak with Ms. Victory this morning. I did inform her that the state is moving to no pros her case. She is still in the courtroom, ready to be excused.
All right, Ms. Victory, you are free to go. Thank you so much for waiting. And your case has been no pros. All right, next is Armando Vivaldo Ortega.
Yes, Your Honor, I did speak with Mr. Valdo. Briefly, he did provide his driver's license, so the state is moving to no pros.
All right, so I believe I saw Ms. Bermudez in the courtroom. So thank you, Ms. Bermudez, and Mr. Vivaldo. You are free to go at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Next is Adam Wiley. Adam Wiley. Mr. Holton Dennis.
Judge, I believe Mr. Taylor has an announcement on that one.
Mr. Wiley, he's on a Zoom call as well, Your Honor.
Thank you, Honor. Mr. Wiley's on the Zoom call. I sent him a chat message with the state's recommended.
I'm here.
All right. I'm sorry, is it Willie or Wiley?
It's Willie.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Willie, I apologize for mispronouncing your name. So, Mr. Taylor, you've sent him a message and you all need to talk. Is that what you're telling me?
And he hasn't responded back in chat. Can he see the chat message?
Mr. Willie, can you see the chat that your attorney sent you? It should be a red box with a white number in it.
All right, hold on.
Okay. Just go ahead and read that. Don't respond out loud. Just type in a response and send it to your attorney if you see that. All right. And next is Justin Jamal Willis. That's Mr. Barton. Mr. Barton has filed a waiver.
And Mr. Willis is in a courtroom, Your Honor. I did spoke to Mr. Martin. He said no, so I'm not sure if the court wanted to update him or what's going on, but I do see that a waiver was filed.
Okay. So, Mr. Willis, you can come up if you need to, but your attorney.
I had Judge, sorry to interrupt. He had asked me, he had received a text message saying he was excused. He asked me about it. I verified it was waived, so I told him he was good to go.
All right. Thank you so much.
And,
all right. And that is the last case on the calendar. So as we go back, the cases that need attention, Beatty, Mr. Holton Dennis, Bates.
Mr. Little is going to call Mr. Bailey right now.
Mr. who? Oh, Mr. Stephen Little. He's going to call Mr. Beatty.
Yes, and so I'm just let Mr. Beatty look out for a call and keep your microphone mute.
All right. Mr. Bates is going to speak with the state. So is that you, Ms. Ponder?
That'll be Ms. Hagler, Your Honor.
Okay. So Ms. Hagler, I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Mr. Bates. Mr. Bates, you'll get an invitation on your screen. However you activate your screen, whether you touch the screen or you move your cursor or whatever. So if you need to see it, it should pop up on your screen. And then when you need to come out of the breakout room, you just reactivate your screen and the leave breakout room should be on there to return to the main room. Okay. So at this time, I'm going to put Mr. Bates and Ms. Hagler in the breakout room number 1. And when you all come back, let me know.
Your Honor, my apologies.
Good judge.
I just sent you a
Yes.
message. Can you check that?
Yes. Let's see. Jason Winters. Ms. Val, is this who you told me about? Ms. Val?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So yeah, Mr. Winters, Jason Winters is here. He had a bench warrant. I don't know if he's a Lister and Holt person, but he was downstairs and they sent him up.
I have his file, Your Honor.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and deal with Mr. Winters. Mr. Winters, just hold on a second.
And I've spoken,
go ahead.
Legal assistant did speak with him this morning, Your Honor, so I did communicate the state's recommendation at this time.
Okay. All right. Mr. Winters?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know what Mr. Winters is charged with because it's not on the calendar. Can somebody tell me?
I can, Your Honor. For count 1, it's fallen too close. Count 2, driving motor vehicle with invalid registration. And count 3, no expired or invalid tag.
Okay, so Mr. Winters, you've spoken with the state. Did you wish to accept their offer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you all have a negotiated plea, Ms. Ponder?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Winters, raise your right hand for me, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true? All right. You're before the court on the state of Georgia versus, what's your full name, sir?
Jason Winters.
All right, Mr. Jason Winters, you're before the court for following two closed: count 1, invalid registration; count 2, no tag or invalid tag; count 3, and it's case 2021 CR 07845. Ms. Ponder, what does Mr. Winters agree to plead to this case?
Your Honor, on count 1, it's a $100 fine. He is no eligible. The state has no objection. Count
Okay.
2 will be dismissed and count 3 will be dismissed. Your Honor, this is a victim case. However, the victim is not seeking restitution.
All right. So, Mr. Winters, they're not asking for you to pay anything. Your counts 2 and 3 will be no prize, which they're going to be dismissed. And the following two close, it's a no. You can put in a no-low plea if you wish, which will help you avoid points on your license. If you wish to enter a guilty plea because you're okay with the points, that's fine too. The fine is $100 and it'll be $151.50 with the surcharges. So that's the total. Did you wish to enter a plea of no-low? Okay, let me explain it. So you know about points on your license, right?
Ma'am.
Okay, so you know if you get certain offenses, the Department of Driver Services will put points on your license that go towards a suspension if you get too many points, right?
Yes.
They will also raise your insurance. You listening to me, Mr. Winters?
I am, ma'am.
So if you wish to enter a no-low plea, you may do so. That will avoid points on your license and may help you with insurance.
I would like to plead no-low.
Okay. All right. So by entering a plea of no-low, you give up the right to count 1. You give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to present evidence and testimony on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, Mr. Winters? Mr. Winters?
Ma'am.
Did you understand all of the rights I read to you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So factual basis.
Yes, Your Honor. On August 6, 2021, officers responded to a motor vehicle accident at Noah's Park Road and Floyd Road, located here in Clayton County, Georgia. When officers arrived on scene, they made contact with 2 individuals, one being the defendant before you, Mr. Winters, and also the victim in this case, later identified as Rochelle Hall, Rochelle, last name Hall, Hall. Officers learned during the course of their investigation that the defendant did rear end the victim. Those are the facts of the case, Your Honor.
All right, so sir, I'm going to accept your plea of no-low. I'll send you to pay a fine in the amount of $100. It'll be $150 with the surcharges. And did you wish to pay that today or have additional time?
Today.
All right, Mr. Winters, you're going to go downstairs to the 2nd floor, right below where we are. You're going to come back through the double doors and go to your left to the traffic court window. They're going to accept your payment. They'll give you your paperwork and you'll be free to go. And it's my understanding there was a bench warrant maybe. If so, let's go ahead and get a bench warrant set aside for that.
Yes, Your Honor, the state is preparing that now, and it's my understanding that he would need to be escorted back to courtroom 205 upon completion of his plea. That was the information that I received.
Oh, okay. I thought he did traffic court first, but I guess he came here first. That's fine. So when you finish paying for it for today, then you're going to need to have the deputy walk you back down to 205, okay? A deputy. Deputy Winston, if you could get somebody to escort him for me. All right. Thank you, sir. All right, so Mr. Winters, don't fear. I'm doing the bench warrant set aside. So as far as me, I don't have anybody want to arrest you, okay?
Okay.
All right, it's not a bait and switch. They called me about you this morning when I was getting dressed. They were like, oh, there's a guy who's here and there's a bench warrant. Can we do something? And I said, yeah, bring him in. No bench, don't arrest him.
Thank you, ma'am.
No problem, sir. Take care.
All right, you too.
All right. So that concludes reading the calendar. I'm gonna go back through and tell you who's still outstanding. So Beatty is speaking with Mr. Little, and they probably have resolved something. I see Mr. Little moving around. Bates,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna put in a breakout room, or have put in a breakout room with Ms. Hagler. Hamilton, that's a bench warrant. Hughes is an appointment to Lister and Holt.
And Your Honor, we need the recommendation and the.
Okay, so can we get the recommendation for Hughes? Moses is speaking with Mr. Lynch.
That's gonna be a plea this morning. I just need to verify that she's NOLO eligible on that. No
For
insurance.
Moses?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Moses is in fact NOLO eligible. Yeah.
Right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. One moment. I want to make sure.
Hey, Mr. Little, thank you for helping out today.
Morning, Your Honor. I had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Derek Beatty. We're going to be entering a not guilty plea this morning.
Okay, so for Mr. Beatty, just remind him that if he's not to go back to that location, to be mindful of his bond conditions.
You know, we did have a conversation. The store actually privately banned.
All right then, thank you. All right, so Mr. Beatty, you're free to go. You'll get notice of your next court date.
Would I get it via email?
No, we don't do email. We do mail. So did you get this one by mail? Mr. Beatty?
Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm just trying to check to make sure that we on the same accord with the address.
Okay.
I
Hold
did,
on.
but
Okay, you did, but what?
okay, so the 4483 flat shows, I'm not there any longer. I'm not receiving mail there anymore.
Okay, so if that's the address we have for you, what you need to do is contact the state court clerk's office. Get a pen and write this down, because I don't want you to miss this information, okay? Because you're going to need to change your address, and we can't do it during this hearing because they have certain requirements that they have to satisfy to change an address. Okay? You ready? Uh-oh, I think he froze. Mr. Beatty? Okay.
I have a pen on me, so I'm in my notes, but I can hear everything you're saying.
Okay, good. All right. So you're going to Google Clayton County State Court Clerk, or you can Google T-I-K-I Brown, Tiki Brown. That's the clerk's name. So once you get to the website, you can contact them about changing your address. So you might want to call them and let them know you need a change of address, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Quick question. And
Yes.
by any chance, would I be able to just, run in there and get an update from them, or a personal
Yes, you
update?
can do that. They're on the first floor of the Justice Center at 9151 Terra Boulevard. And if you're going to go in, that's easier. If you're going to go into them, you can change your address there because they have the paperwork, but it's just that they have to verify who you are before they can just change your address. So when you go in at 9151 Terra Boulevard, first floor, state court clerk, they'll help you.
Yes, ma'am.
And you can get a copy of your bond conditions. You can get anything that you need from the clerk's office, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, take care, Mr. Beatty.
You too.
All right. So do we have an announcement on Bates?
Your Honor, it's my understanding that Ms. Hagler is still speaking with him regarding the pretrial diversion program. I also wanted to provide the court and counsel an updated for Moses, Alexis Moses.
Okay.
I did have an opportunity to review her, again, her driving history. And so she has had She has used NOLO in she has used NOLO in 2023 for
Okay,
speeding in Forest Park Municipal Court. And that is her only NOLO that she's used.
okay.
The
All right,
state
so,
doesn't object to a NOLO, but I know that I'm not sure. I can't speak on the Department of Driver Services and what they will do.
okay. All right, so that's information, Mr. Lynch.
Yes, Judge. I believe we're still going forward. As I explained, as Ms. Moses, the no insurance charge, since it's not the same category of a moving violation, that should still be honored by the Department of Driver Services.
Yeah, they
based on my
probably,
understanding. As far as the moving violations, those probably will assess points regardless of whether the NOLO plea is.
yeah. Okay, so, so Ms. Moses will do her plea in a moment. Porter, Murray we took that plea. Porter is a bench warrant bond forfeiture. Victory is a no pros. Vivaldo is a no pros. Willie is speaking with Mr. Lynch. No, I'm sorry, Mr. Taylor. Mr. Willie speaking with Mr. Taylor.
Your Honor, that'll be a not guilty today.
All right, so Mr. Willie, you're entering a plea of not guilty. You have bond conditions. Please make sure you adhere to your bond conditions and you don't do anything that would put you in a similar position, okay?
And Mr. Willie, I'll contact you later today to discuss what all this means and what's going to happen going forward.
Okay, and Willis, Mr. Willis was a waiver, so. All right, so looks like we'll be taking Miss Moses's plea. And I guess Hughes is outstanding, and then we'll hear about whether Mr. Bates is eligible for pretrial intervention.
Your Honor, I am back. I do have an announcement. He is, Mr. Bates is eligible, so I will submit the referral today.
Okay, so Mr. Bates.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so go ahead and sign up for pretrial intervention. We'll reset your case for about 2 months. That way we can make sure that you can get in on whatever the next class is.
Okay.
And then go ahead and communicate with whatever information they send to you. Go ahead and do what you need to do so that you can go ahead and get this taken care of through pretrial intervention. And we'll just do a reset to check your status in a couple months, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, thanks, Ms. Hagler. So that leaves Hughes and Bates. Just give me a couple minutes and I'll be right back.
Moses as well for the plea.
And Aaron, just briefly, what date was Mr. Bates' case continued to? I know you said about 60 days.
I said 60 days, but I don't have a date. Miss Val or Miss Ryan.
Notice to be sent.
Okay, we'll send notice because we don't know how full those are that far out. 1 second.
Mr. Lynch, is there any case on the calendar? I know that we don't have many that you need to speak with me about. Or Mr. Taylor?
You're talking about for the 10 o'clock calendar or?
Yes, for the 10 o'clock calendar. I'm not sure if there was anything outstanding.
Just Mr. Hughes, the sentence recommendation, accusation, and a copy of the police report or citations.
Okay, all right, and that should be sent to the courtroom momentarily. Is that correct, Ms. Hagler?
Yes, give me 1 second. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, is there anything else you need from us regarding the 10 o'clock calendar, Mr. Lynch?
I believe we're good on the 10 o'clock calendar.
Okay, great. And so for the 11 o'clock calendar, cases M through Z, is there any that you need to speak with me about and I can meet you in person?
So, M through Z, huh? Ms. Hagler, they're like, I know I'll need to talk to you about Miss Williams.
Okay.
At the end of the calendar, there's likely going to be a few more, but I may have a better idea after we call the calendar.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Just wanted to see if there was anything in advance. And the state is ready, Your Honor.
All right, I'm ready. Who do we have? Hughes or Moses?
We're ready on Moses for the plea, Judge.
All right, Ms. Moses, unmute for me. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So Ms. Moses, you can put your hand down. You're before the court on 2022 CR 03934. Alexis Janae Moses for 1 count of reckless driving. Count 2, too fast for conditions. Count 3, no tag, expired or invalid tag. Count 4, no insurance. Count 5, improper lane change. Count 6, following too close. Mr. Owen Lynch, the law firm of Lister Holt and Dennis, what is your client plea to the offenses before the court?
Judge, to count 1, reckless driving, she enters a plea of guilty. Count 2 will be null pros pursuant to the negotiations. Count 3 will be null pros pursuant to the negotiations. Count 4, we're entering a no-low plea for no insurance. Count 5 should be null pros according to the negotiated plea. And then count 7 will be a guilty plea to following too close, Judge.
What about count 6? Oh, wait, there's no count 6. Okay.
I'll see a count 6, Judge.
Yeah. Oh, that's weird. All right. So, Ms. Moses, by entering a plea of guilty to count 1 and 7 and no low to count 4, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right, factual basis, please, and recommendation.
Yes, Your Honor. On December the 13th, 2020, officers responded to a motor vehicle accident at I-75 North and 285 East, located here in Clayton County, Georgia. When officers arrived on scene, they made contact with 2 individuals, one being the defendant, Alexis Moses. Officers did observe on the witness dash cam that the defendant was traveling at a high rate of speed, struck the vehicle and rear end of the vehicle, causing the vehicle to spin into the I-285 East ramp on a wet roadway. Officers did speak to the defendant, in which asking why did you apply brakes. She indicated it was hard for her to stop. Those are the facts of the case, Your Honor. The state's recommendation for count 1 is 12 months probation, a $300 fine to enroll and complete a defensive driving course. Count 4, the no insurance, a $200 fine, suspended. And count 7, Your Honor, is a $100 fine. If I can just have a brief moment, Your Honor, I just want to verify regarding the restitution.
I didn't have any indication of restitution, so I wouldn't need to discuss that if that is the case.
Give me one moment. Okay. Well, if I could just have one moment, I just need to
okay,
message Mr. Lynch.
While deputy is speaking with Lynch, is there a reason why I have to be on a 12-month probation for an incident that happened in 2020?
Ms. Moses, I'm going to address that issue with the court.
Okay.
Your Honor, can I have a quick breakout room with Miss Moses?
All
The-
right.
The restitution amount is quite high, so that may change what we're doing here. I need to speak to her about that.
I'll put you and Ms. Moses in breakout room number 2. Hold on. All right. Oh, give me a minute. All right, breakout rooms are set. Mr. Moses, Mr. Lynch. If you're here for the 11 o'clock calendar, don't despair. We'll get started on that in a moment. I thought this would be a quick wrap up of the 10 o'clock calendar, but I'll give you my speech in a moment.
Judge, we're ready to go forward.
All right.
Aaron,
So, yes.
an update to the court. The state is not seeking restitution at this time. I have spoke to my victim advocate who will in fact speak to the victim on this case. But the state is not seeking restitution at this time.
All right. So, Ms. Moses, I'm going to accept your plea of guilty to counts 1 and 7. Your plea of nolo to count 4. I'll sentence you on count 1 to 12 months to pay a fine in the amount of $300. It'll be $444 with the surcharges and a driver improvement course. Please don't just Google. What I need you to do is go to the Department of Driver Services. Wait, where is she? Oh boy. Is she still in the breakout room?
No, she's here.
No, I'm here.
Where? I don't see you. Am I missing? Where am I?
There, no, but
Oh, there you are. Okay, there it's moving now. All right. So go to the Department of Driver Services website. They have driver improvement courses in one of their pull down menus. Choose the one that's closest to you or most convenient to you. And they give a particular type of certificate that we accept. So don't just Google driver improvement course. You're going to go to the website for the agency that issues your license, the Georgia Department of Driver Services. Now, once you've done all of this, then your probation can terminate once you show proof of having taken the course and you pay the fines and fees. Also, count 7 will go run concurrent with count 1, so you can pay that $100 fine, which will be $151.50. That's the total. That'll be, you can pay that at the same time as you pay the first set of fines and fees. Counts 2, 3, and 5 will be no pros. There is no count 6, and count 4 is $200, but it'll be suspended per the negotiated plea. All right. Anything else, Mr. Lynch?
No, Judge.
All right. What do we have on Hughes?
Do we have something on Hughes?
I'm speaking with Ms. Taylor currently, negotiating the.
Mr. Taylor is currently communicating with Ms. Haler.
All right. So for those of you who are here for the 11 o'clock calendar, this is the arraignment calendar for courtroom 304, State Court of Clayton County. I'm Judge Tammy Long Hayward. This may be the first time that your case has been on the trial calendar. This is where your case will be resolved either through a trial, a plea, or some other administrative action. Everyone is entitled to have an attorney represent you. If you cannot afford an attorney, please tell us at the time that we talk to you about your case. And it is possible that we could appoint an attorney for you today. I expect to hear 3 types of pleas. A plea of not guilty means that you wish to have a trial. That trial will take place at a later date. A plea of guilty means that you believe you're guilty of the underlying offense and you wish to, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to put Ms. Moses in a breakout room for probation.
Judge, is it possible that you can put me in a breakout room with the victims, the people who are saying they're victims of the case?
I don't know that they're here. I do need to put you in a breakout room with probation.
Okay, because they're in the chat saying that Dylan James and Sophia James they put in the chat that they're victims of the case.
They are speaking. They are notified. I've already spoke to my victim advocate. She's in contact with them. She sent them a chat separately, and she's speaking to them about what's going on with the case.
Okay. I would be more than welcome to speak with them as well, just to make that publicly known.
That's okay, Ms. Moses.
Not going to be
yeah, okay. I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Ms. James, who is the probation expert. She's going to be in breakout room number 5. I'm going to move you to breakout room number 5. Once you've spoken with Ms. James, you do not have to come back to the main room. Okay. All right. So hold on a second. Let me get Ms. James set up.
Thank you, Judge. You guys have a great day.
All right. So hold on, Mrs. Moses. When you finish speaking with Ms. James, you do not have to come back to the main room. Okay.
Understood.
You'll be free to go. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have the right to enter a plea of not guilty guilty, or nolo. Nolo means that it is in Latin for no contest. It means that you're not contesting the evidence that the state has that they could present at trial against you. You understand they have that evidence and it could result in a conviction. You are not contesting it, but you're also not presenting yourself as guilty of the offense. Now, if you enter a plea of not guilty, your trial will take place at a later date. You have to appear for trial, but it is the state's burden to present enough evidence so that you may be found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So it is the burden of the state to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You do not have to present any evidence or testimony. You have a Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. I do recommend that you think clearly about whether you wish to have an attorney to represent you, because if you're representing yourself, which is your right to do, you will not have the same advantages as an attorney, someone who's trained in the rules of procedure and evidence. I cannot treat you any differently than I would an attorney who on the other side, and you may have issues getting evidence into the record of the court. You may have issues arguing objections or to counter any arguments made by the state because you have not been trained in the rules of evidence, procedure, or law. So please understand that if you choose to go to trial without an attorney, it would be a severe disadvantage to you. Once you are at trial, if you were convicted, the maximum penalty could be up to 12 months in jail, a $5,000 fine, or both per offense. If you believe that a conviction was a mistake, then you could appeal your conviction to an appellate court that might make a different decision within 30 days of the verdict of the court. These are all the rights that come with entering a plea of not guilty and going to trial. If you enter a plea of guilty or no contest, we'll take care of that today. You'll have the opportunity, you and your attorney will speak with the state. If you all agree upon a plea, then the court will accept that. If you disagree, you each present your recommendations and the court will make a decision. And if you are entering a plea of nolo, you have to be eligible to enter a nolo plea, meaning within the last 5 years, you have not used a nolo plea for the same or similar offense. So we'll be able to tell you if you are nolo eligible once we start talking to you directly about your case. If you have a commercial driver's license, please understand we cannot tell you what might happen with your eligibility to drive if you enter a plea of guilty, nolo, or if you're convicted at trial. So you may want to go ahead and do that research. If you need time, go ahead and enter a plea of not guilty while you're preparing for trial. You can do that research. And when you come back for trial, if you still want to take a plea, that's fine. You can do that. All right. If you're 21, you're under the age of 21 and you are driving, please understand that it only takes 4 points to get you a hard suspension of your license. A hard suspension means you will not get a permit for work or school. And your suspension will be longer. It will be 6 months as opposed to 4 months. So please make sure that you understand this. If you get 4 points, that it could result in a suspension of your license if you are under the age of 21. Now, those are the rights that come with that you have during this arraignment. So please, when I call your name, I need to know that you are here. Please make sure that you speak up. But if you have an attorney already assigned to your case, your attorney is going to give me the announcement that I need to hear. All right. Robert Alfonso Brown Jr.
Is Mr. Brown on the call? I had a message from my office saying that he was having trouble logging on, but he should be on by now.
What is going on? Hold on.
Mr. Brown, please turn on your camera, sir.
I'm here.
Thank you, Judge. We do represent Mr. Brown. I have spoken to Mr. Brown. From speaking to him, I am quite certain we're going to be entering a not guilty plea today, but I do need to just give him the state's offer so that I can do that while it's on the table. But I anticipate a not guilty plea today. If he can just remain in the meeting, mute your microphone, I'm going to call you and go over the state's offer, and then we'll likely have that not guilty plea entered at that point. Thank you, Judge.
All right, Mr. Brown, just because I might not get back to tell you this, but please be mindful of what you're charged with. Don't show up here with additional charges of the same or similar offense, okay? You're not guilty. You've not been adjudicated guilty, but you know what you were charged with, so just be mindful of that, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so hold on, wait for your information from Mr. Lynch. Nakia Q. Clifton. Nakia Clifton.
Judge.
That's on my GCS. It didn't say why it's suspended.
Your Honor, statement removed for bench warrant bond forfeiture if she's not present.
Okay, Nakia Clifton. All right, bench warrant bond forfeiture for Nakia Clifton.
Thank you.
All right. Lee Otis Dickens. Hey, somebody's mic is hot. I'm not sure who that is. Lee Otis Dickens.
Your Honor, they would be requesting a bench warrant bond forfeiture.
Last call for Leotis Dickens. All right, bench warrant bond forfeiture. Dowdell, Malik Jared Dowdell.
Judge, I believe Mr. Dowdell is on the call.
Yes. Not guilty.
Yes, Judge, and I did speak to him about entering a not guilty plea. And so we'll just go ahead and enter not guilty plea now. And Mr. Dowdell, I will follow up with you later today about any other information that I have.
All right, Mr. Dowdell, you're entering a plea of not guilty. Please make sure that you are mindful of your bond conditions, sir. If you were to violate your bond conditions, 3 things could happen, all of 3 things or any one of the 3 things. You could have your bond revoked and you could spend the rest of your time in jail until such time as your case is resolved. You could be charged with additional misdemeanors, or you could be charged with felonies. So please understand that it's very important to know what your bond conditions say and to adhere to those bond conditions. If the person that you're prohibited from having contact with contact you, please do not respond. Please keep a record of it and share that with your attorney, but please do not respond or have contact with those individuals. Do you understand?
Okay.
All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
All right, not guilty. You're free to go at this time. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
David Frazier.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, Mr. Frazier, based on his charges, I believe it's a situation where we could resolve.
All right, Mr. Frazier, I believe they have a program for charges such as this. If you wish to speak with the state, you may. If you wish to have an attorney represent you and you can't afford one or haven't chosen one, then let me know that. But if you wish to speak directly with the state, you may do that also, sir.
Will I be able to do that right now, Judge?
Yes.
And I wanted to also say too, I'm a licensed carry. I have a license to carry, so it was just a misunderstanding.
Because my thing is, I'm a gun owner, but my thing is, whenever somebody gets charged with something like this, what scares me is that they just generally don't know where their gun is, and that's a problem. If you have a gun that you don't, I can tell you right now where all of my guns are. I could, if I needed to, I could put my hands on them, but they are safely and secured because I have kids. So when somebody gets charged with something like this, it means that they have lost track of a gun and they don't know who could come into contact with that gun and be hurt by it. So that's irresponsible gun ownership. All right, but I'll let you speak with Ms. Ponder at the appropriate time. If you just give me a minute, I'll put you in a breakout room as soon as I'm finished calling the calendar, okay?
Thank you very much, Judge.
All right, Jemiah Bethany Greer.
Judge, she's present in the courtroom. Ms. Greer, please approach.
All right, Ms. Greer, you're charged with DUI, DUI per se and DUI less safe. Do you have an attorney representing you?
No, ma'am.
Did you wish to have an attorney appointed to you?
Yeah.
You saying, yeah, like you don't understand. Ms. Greer, this is one of the most serious things that I deal with. You understand that the maximum penalty could be up to 12 months in jail, and up to a $5,000 fine. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. This happened almost 4 or 5 years ago, so I didn't even get an attorney. So I guess, yeah.
I got you. I'll appoint the law firm of Lister Holton Dennis to assist you. Okay, and they're gonna explain to you everything that you need to know about what's going on. All right.
All right.
All right. So just have a seat, and Mr. Lynch or Mr. Taylor will speak with you.
If we could just request the accusation, police report, and recommendation from the state at the earliest opportunity.
Please stand by.
Thank you.
Next is Jamal Devon Hillary. Mr. Hillary. Jamal Devon Hillary.
The state will move for a bench warrant bond forfeiture, Your Honor.
Last call for Jamal Devon Hillary. All right, bench warrant bond forfeiture. Next on the calendar is Kamari Raylyn Holt.
I'm present.
All right.
It was waived, Your Honor.
Okay, I have a waiver. Is your attorney still Ms. Hill?
That I don't know. The last court appearance that I came to with you, you asked me to contact state. After the court, I contacted her. There has been no response. I left a voicemail. There's no response. But I mean, I have paid her in full for her to represent me. I just have not heard from her since like January the 1st court date. And that was it.
Okay. Yeah. Ms. Fowl, can we make a call to because I thought this person was downstairs in magistrate court, but now I'm not so sure about that. And if they're actually practicing again, then this case needs to come up, because I know we had this conversation before. So if you could make a call to that number for Duvernay Hill, that I would appreciate that. Thank you. And just let me know. All right. So Ms. Holt, just hold on for a second, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We're going to try and check on that for you.
Okay.
Jakira Brianna Joseph. Jakira Brianna Joseph.
Your Honor, the state has submitted a non-pros for this case.
All right.
You have the paperwork.
All right. So Ms. Joseph's case will be no pros. You're free to go at this time. Hervante D. King. Hervante D. King.
How you doing this morning? I'm present.
All right, Mr. King. Mr. King, you're represented by Lister Holton Dennis, Mr. Taylor, or Mr. Lynch.
Judge, I would ask that Mr. King send his phone number and email address to the courtroom. I did leave a message on the only phone number that I had in the file, but I'm guessing that's an outdated phone number.
All right. Mr. King, you know how to use the chat function?
No, not well. I could try to use it right quick. Yes, I know.
Okay. You see it? You see chat?
Yeah.
All right. Click on that. When it comes up, you'll see a name in blue. Everyone in blue. Click on that. Or whatever name is in blue. Click on that. You should see a pull down menu.
I see it right now.
Okay. You're going to click on courtroom 304.
Okay.
And when that box opens, go ahead and put your name, email address, and phone number in the box and send it back to courtroom 304.
I'm sending it to you all right now.
And then just go ahead and mute your microphone, and we're going to give you a call in a moment to go over everything that we have before us today.
All right.
Judge.
Yes.
So I see that on Ms. Holt, it was a waiver in August 19th.
Right.
So it's demand the jury trial. So it probably just needs, she's already waived arraignment.
Is it which attorney is waiving arraignment? Because the person who's listed was a judge in magistrate court, which means that they would be barred from practicing up here.
Okay, so
filed the arraignment. I mean the waiver of arraignment.
Okay, let me go check that for you.
All right. Thank you. Because that way, that means that's the new attorney on. Whew. All right. Next person, Kay Antoinette Kolzik.
Your Honor, the state has submitted a non-pros for this case. You should have the paperwork.
All right.
Yes, I'm here.
Mm-hmm. All right, Miss am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
Yes.
All right. Your case is being null pros. That means that they're not going to pursue prosecution of your case. So as long as nothing happens within the next 6 months, your case is being dismissed, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you. And please be safe. Make sure you have your documents in order, all right?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Free to go. Next on the calendar is Jeremiah Isaiah Lott. Jeremiah Isaiah Lott.
The same removed for a bench warrant bond forfeiture.
Last call for Jeremiah Isaiah Lott. All right, bench warrant bond forfeiture. Okay, Roland Joseph Nelson.
Here, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Nelson, Mr. Nelson is here. Mr. Dennis is representing Mr. Nelson.
Yes, Judge. Again, I would just ask Mr. Nelson to, I did leave a message. I'm not sure if he got that, but if he could just give us an updated phone number in the chat, and I'll follow up with him momentarily or after we call.
Also, Mr. Lynch, may you please get his driver's license information as well and provide that to me so we can work on the back end?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
And Mr. Nelson, if you would, on the chat function, if you go to courtroom 304, put your phone number, email address, and go ahead and tell me whether or not your driver's license is currently valid.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. And then mute your microphone because we're going to call you very shortly.
Okay.
All right, next is Ronnie Edward Revere. Ronnie Edward Revere.
I was not able to make contact with Mr. Revere, Judge. I sent an email to the email address we had and called any number we had. I don't think we had a good number.
All right. Requesting a bench warrant bond forfeiture.
Bench warrant bond forfeiture will be granted. Next is Deja Deneen Wilkes. Deja Deneen Wilkes. This is Lister Holton Dennis also.
Same announcement, Judge. I did reach out, sent a message, and the numbers that I had.
All right. Deja Deneen Wilkes, bench warrant bond forfeiture. Kenyatta Latrice Williams.
Judge, I believe she's on the call.
Yes, I'm here.
And Judge, I will need a conference with Ms. Ponder about this case.
All right. All right, so I'll arrange that in a minute. That is the last case on the calendar. Let me go back through and make sure we got everything. Are we confirming the not guilty for Brown?
Did Mr. Little ever come back?
For Alfonso Brown?
Judge, we can go ahead and confirm that. If I hear anything different from Mr. Little, I'll tell you. But based on the recommendation in our previous conversation, I believe that it's definitely going to be not guilty.
All right. So Ms. Holt?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So my understanding is that Ms. DuVernay Hill is actively practicing. That was who's filed the waiver in your case, which means since the waiver was filed, you're excused at this time. So, but you do need to be able to get in touch with her. So you might just have to go to her office if she's not responding.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you've paid them, they're supposed to come and represent you. So at some point, she could probably have already had this case resolved if she had spoken with the state. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Oh, well, she did say that if I didn't hear anything back, that everything might be resolved, but I wasn't.
No, ma'am. That's not how this works. She has to tell you if it is resolved or not resolved. She can't just say, well, just wait. And if you don't hear anything, that's the last thing you want to do with a court case. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Cause they're just not going to go away unless something extraordinary happens. If she's the attorney of record, she needs to actively deal with the state and talk to the state. Cause by now this could have been a plea or a trial.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I'm not fussing at you. I'm just saying, yeah, don't wait. If you paid somebody to do a job, make sure they do the job and confirm that they've done the job. Okay.
Exactly. Yes, ma'am. Because I've been to the office before and she handed me a receipt and everything with, you know, the payment and
Yeah.
everything on there.
Just tell her
But
that so the state is willing to talk to her, but we need to go ahead and make sure, because you were on a bond forfeiture calendar at some point, which meant that somebody didn't get noticed. So let's go ahead and make sure there's no bench warrant bond forfeiture for Ms. Holt, because she's appeared and she was here the last time. All right, so we'll make sure that's all taken care of, but you get in touch with Ms. DuVernay Hill and tell her the judge is looking for her.
yes, ma'am. And then if I do get in contact with her, who would I contact? Or that's their job?
No, she's supposed to contact the state.
Okay, perfect. All
Just
right.
tell her she needs to tell her the judge said she needs to go ahead and get this done and contact the state.
Yes,
I said
ma'am.
it specifically.
Perfect. Yes,
All
ma'am.
right.
Well, thank you
Ms.
so much,
Holt.
Ms. Hayward. You have a beautiful day.
You too. Take care.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Your Honor, the bench warrant has been recalled on this.
All right.
case.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Yeah, because Ms. Holt does show up. It's just I don't know what's going on with her case. All right. So now, let's see. Was Hillary a bench warrant, or was that it? Did Mr. Hillary appear?
1 second, Your Honor.
Yeah, I have bench warrant bond forfeiture.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure I didn't write it in the wrong space. Okay, so I have Brown, we're confirming a not guilty. Clifton is a, yes? Okay, Clifton is a bench warrant bond forfeiture. Dickens, bench warrant bond forfeiture. Dowdell, not guilty. Frazier still needs to speak with the state. I'm gonna put you in a breakout room with the state in a minute, Mr. Frazier. Greer is a bench warrant bond forfeiture. Hillary, bench warrant bond forfeiture. Holt, waiver. Joseph, no pros.
Your Honor, I thought Greer
Appeared and she requested an attorney. She's in the courtroom.
Yes,
Oh, I'm sorry.
and
I
they
didn't
should
hear
have the
that.
paperwork. Mhm.
Okay. There we go. Thank you. See, that's why I confirmed this. Joseph is a no pros. King, that's going to be a breakout room. Kulzik is a no pros. Lot, bench warrant bond forfeiture. Nelson, what are we doing with Nelson?
Judge, I believe Mr. Little is going to go ahead and call Mr. Nelson.
All right. So Mr. Nelson is speaking with Mr. Little. Riviere is a bench warrant bond forfeiture. Wilkes, bench warrant bond forfeiture. And Williams. I guess y'all are working on Williams. Miss Williams is in the courtroom. Is she in the courtroom or no? She's on
The actually that I may need to do a breakout room with Miss Ponder about if she has.
Okay, yeah.
Element.
All right, so I'm gonna put Miss Ponder or Miss Hagler. Who's speaking with Mr. Frazier?
It'll be Miss Hagler, Your Honor.
All right, so Miss Hagler, I'm gonna put Mr. Frazier and Miss Hagler in a breakout room. I think Miss Hagler is in breakout room number 1. I'm just gonna add Mr. Frazier.
And may I have a breakout room with Mr. Lynch, Your Honor?
Yes, and Miss Ponder and Mr. Lynch, I'm gonna put you in breakout room number 3.
Thank you.
So Mr. Lynch, don't worry, I'm gonna move you to breakout room number 3.
Great.
All right. So when you all are back, let me know. Ladies and gentlemen, so just hold on. Anybody who's still here waiting for your case, as I've called you, they're talking now about your case. So please just hold on, and when they come back, they will make announcements. Okay.
Judge, we are ready for a plea for Mr. Hughes on the 10 o'clock calendar. And then I'm going to talk to Ms. Greer because you have a conflict. And then if you could talk to, I wrote his number down on the calendar, but Mr. King, you don't have a conflict. Talk to him if needed.
All right, Mr. Hughes. Quintel Lamar Hughes, come on up.
Yeah, is that on the 10 o'clock calendar?
Yes.
Okay.
Just stand right here.
Mr. Hughes, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down, sir. You're before the court on 2021 CR 08963 for Quintel Lamar Hughes for 1, improper passing, count 2, no license, and count 3, speeding 11 to 15 over. Sir, you're before the court. You're represented by the law firm of Lister, Holt, and Dennis. Mr. Cass Taylor is with you at the podium. Mr. Taylor, what is your client plead to the offenses before the court?
To count 1, improper passing, he pleads nolo. Count 2, the state is indicating they're no crossing. To count 3, we enter a plea of guilty. I believe that's 14 over.
Okay. All right. So by entering a plea of nolo to count 1, guilty to count 3, and count 2 will be no cross, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or nolo could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yeah, if I could just have one moment, I'm retrieving that file.
Okay.
Question. City of Atlanta. If you can get that go down the call. Either side should be able to explain. One, let's just get the right person on the telephone. And do make sure if they tell you that you've got a pending case, even if it's just a ticket or a part. But make sure they have your correct address. So when they send you a notice, I think for FTA was not updating my address. So you never got notice of court date. So.
Thank you so much for holding, Your Honor. I do apologize for the wait. All right, the factual basis in this case: on August the 11th, 2021, officers conducted a traffic stop on Boulder Crest Road and Ellenwood Road, located here in Clayton County, Georgia. Officers observed that the defendant was traveling 59 miles per hour in a 45 miles per hour zone. Officers did observe that defendant failed to maintain his lane and did not have a driver's license on his person. Those are the facts of the case, Your Honor. The state's recommendation for count one, a $100 fine suspended. On count two, the state is moving to no pros, and count three will be a $100 fine. And also the defendant is take a, I'm sorry, let me just repeat that. I apologize. Yes, Mr. Taylor?
On count one, we had noted a $50 fine.
It was a $100 fine suspended.
Oh, yes.
Count three is 12 months probation, a $100 fine, and for the defendant to take the defensive driving course, alive at 25, the balance of probation terminates upon completion.
Ms. Ponder, I'd spoken with Ms. Hagler, and there was just going to be a fine on count three.
Okay, that's fine. If you all negotiated that, that is fine as well.
And Your Honor, this is a 4-year-old citation.
I got it.
Mr.
Yeah, it was
no longer 19. 19.
Okay, it was 14 over. Yeah, if he had been in the 20s or the 30 mile per hour is over, I would have a real issue. But yeah, I'm okay with this. Sir Alderman, accept your plea of no to count one, guilty to count three. Count two will be no pros. Count one is a suspended fine of $100. Count three is a $100 fine. It's $151.50 total. Did you wish to pay that today, or do you need additional time?
Today, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Hughes, when you go downstairs, you're going to go down to the floor right below us. You're going to go down to the second floor. When you come back through the double doors into the hallway, go to your left. When you get to the traffic court window, they'll take your payment and they'll give you your paperwork, okay? All right, Mr. Hughes, you have a cash bond, I think, that you put up. So you can go over to the jail and get your bond back. So you can get refund of your bond. You can, once you finish paying, you go over to the jail and you can get the refund process started. All right?
No, he does that, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Chief Ponder.
All right, that concludes the 10 a.m. calendar. Back on the 11 a.m. calendar, we have outstanding King, Nelson, and I believe Williams.
Your Honor, I can make an announcement for Roland Nelson.
Yes.
Your Honor, I had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Nelson. We're asking for a continuance. This is his first time being arraigned for this. We would ask for a little time to allow him to get his license reinstated. He still has a few more hurdles he has to pass in order to get that license reinstated. We were asking for March 11th arraignment, if possible.
All right, Ms. Val, do we have a calendar that we can put him on for March 11th? Ms. Val?
What do you need, Judge? Can I find the date?
Yeah, March 11th. Can we put him on? Is there an arraignment calendar we can put him on for March 11th?
Yes, I can make a note.
I'm checking out the song. I'm finishing a business call.
This is Nelson, Roland Nelson.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, so Mr. Nelson, we're going to reset you.
Yeah. I'm going to leave. I'm going to. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think Ms. Val might have stepped away from her desk.
I'm looking now, Judge. If you give me just a minute, I can confirm.
Okay.
And the date that we're looking at, Your Honor, is March the 11th?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's at 10 a.m.
Okay, that date does work. March 11th works for a criminal arraignment.
All right, thank you so much.
Might be at
Mr.
10 a.m., but I'll make a note for Miss Val.
Okay, Mr. Nelson, we'll see you at 10 a.m. on March 11th, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, the last two cases on the 11 o'clock calendar are Frazier and Williams.
Yeah, Tron, the state does have an announcement on Frazier. I am going to submit a referral for our pretrial diversion program. The defendant is eligible.
All right, Mr. Frazier, I'll set a reset for about 2 months out. You'll get notice, but essentially that's just to confirm that you have entered the program. Go ahead and once they send you the information about what you need to do, go ahead and get that done, sir. And also just make sure you always know where your firearms are, okay? That's an important part of being a gun owner.
Yes, ma'am.
That is the most important part. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And Williams.
Judge, we still have Greer.
Oh, yes, we do. I'm so sorry.
I'm free to leave, Judge.
Yes, sir, you are, Mr. Frazier. Greer and Williams. Did we do King?
Hold on a second. We haven't, I don't think we have an announcement on King yet. Ms.
Okay.
Will you call Mr. King? I'm sorry. Will you call Mr. King? I will call Mr. King. Appreciate it. I do have a announcement for Ms. Greer, Judge.
Okay.
We are going to enter a not guilty plea for today.
All right.
And then for Ms. Williams, I'm actually going to, that's likely going to be a not guilty plea, but I spoke to the state about that, and I think they're going to do a little mini investigation here for me if they can. So I want to hold on that for a moment. While we're holding, I was going to go ahead and call Miss King and I'm sorry, Miss Williams and speak to her about that.
Okay, and who's working on King?
Mr. Taylor. Mr. Taylor will.
Okay. All right. So those are the last two, Cravante King and Williams.
Your Honor, I apologize for Ronald Nelson. I didn't get whether or not they've confirmed that the date will be March the 11th.
Yes, ma'am. March 11th at
time, Your Honor.
10 a.m.
Okay.
Are you looking for
Thank you.
his number? Oh, you're looking for his stuff. Yes. Yeah, I don't think that's okay. There you go. Oh, that's a good one.
All right. All right. So waiting on King and Williams.
Judge, would it be possible for me to be put in a breakout room with Miss Kenyatta Williams?
Yes. Let me go ahead and do that now. Miss Williams, I'm going to go ahead and put you in a breakout room with Mr. Lynch, breakout room number 2. Mr. Lynch, I'm going to move you to breakout room number 2.
Thank you.
And Ms. Hagler, did Mr. Frazier do the pretrial diversion program?
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to submit the referral today.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
great. And that date was reset to TBD. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, 2 months out.
We're ready? They're not back out of the breakout room yet. Okay.
Judge, we do have two announcements.
All right, what are your announcements?
So for Mr. King, Cravante
Hmm.
King is going to be a not guilty plea today, Judge.
All right, Mr. King, please be mindful of your bond conditions and what you're charged with, and please don't pick up any other charges, okay?
Excuse me, hold on one more. I can't. If y'all trying to talk to me, I can't hear. I'm trying to hang up my phone. I can't hear.
Okay. All right, Mr. Lynch, just go ahead and communicate that information to Mr. King. And what's the other announcement?
Judge, for Miss Kenyatta Williams, we actually are going to do a negotiated plea on that based on the state's recommendation.
All right, Ms. Williams. Okay, Ms. Williams, can I see you, please? All right, Mr. King, you're free to go. Please make sure you are mindful that you don't have any other charges during this period of time until we resolve this, okay?
All right, I will.
All right, thank you. Keep in touch with your attorney.
All
Ms.
right, thank you.
Williams, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. Ms. Kenyatta Latrice Williams, 2022 CR 00177. You're represented by the law firm of Lister, Holt, and Dennis, Mr. Owen Lynch. Ms. Williams, you're charged with reckless driving, count 1, speeding 35 plus miles an hour over the limit, count 2, stop or yield sign violation, count 3, and improper lane change, count 4. Mr. Lynch, what does your client plead to the offenses before the court?
Judge, count 1 will be no cross. Count 2 will be a no contest plea. Count 3 will be no cross. Count 4 will be a guilty plea.
All right, by entering a plea of no load to count 2 and guilty to count 4, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, factual basis recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On March the 7th, 2021, officers conducted.
Apologizes to the
Grandmama.
but rushes to catch up with the dog.
You need some food on your phone. I'm glad you logged on. Thank you.
All right, can we continue?
Yes, Your Honor. On March the 7th, 2021, officers were patrolling the area of Riverdale Road and Church Street, located here in Clayton County, Georgia. Officers observed a vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed, 80 miles per hour in a 45 miles per hour zone. Officers did observe that the vehicle failed to maintain his lane several times, crossing over the double lanes as attempted to negotiate the multiple curves on Church Street. Officers did observe that the defendant failed to stop at a stop sign. Those are the facts of the case, Your Honor. Count 1 is dismissed. Count 2 is a $300 fine. Count 4 is dismissed. Count 5 is a $100 fine.
Okay, if Miss Williams wasn't driving that ambulance, why are we going so easy? What was going on, Miss Williams? I have driven Church Street a lot, but why in the world would you, on a street that has a rec center somewhere near it, all kinds of businesses, churches, why would you be going that crazy on Church Street?
I wasn't.
Okay.
At all.
All right.
Your
Something
Honor,
y'all worked out that explains this. So I'm gonna let y'all have that. All right. So, ma'am, I'm gonna accept your plea of no load to count 2 and guilty to count 4. On counts 1 and 3 will be no prost. I'll send you on count 2 a fine in the amount of $300. It's going to be $444 is the total with the surcharges. And then on count 4, it's $100 fine. It'll be $151.50 with the surcharges. And did you wish to pay those today? I'm sorry, I'm going to give you 30 days, but did you need an additional 30 days? Did you need 60 days?
Judge, we would ask for 60 days if possible.
Okay, so I'll give you 60 days in which to pay. Mr. Lynch, do you have her email address?
I do have her email address in my file, but I don't have it on.
Okay, Miss Williams, do you know how to use the chat function?
Yes.
All right, can you chat your email address to Miss Amanda Wright? So you don't want to send it to everyone. You're going to click on the chat function, and then you're going to click on the name in blue, and the pull down menu. Miss Wright should be at the top of the menu. Amanda Wright, R-Y-T-E. Send her your email address, and she's going to send you back your information for your sentence. And so it's going to have the exact date by which you pay. It's going to have information about how to pay online or by phone. And it's going to have the information to reach the clerk's office if you have any other questions, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Miss Williams. Be safe out there, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Have a good day.
You too. All right. Don't leave before you send your email address, but once you send it, you're free to go.
I sent it.
Okay. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. So I think we have everybody from the 11 o'clock calendar. Yes, Mr. Lynch.
You know what, Judge? I did not mean to interrupt. Once I will wait for you, and then I'll go at the end.
No, I was just going to say I'm ready to give us a break until 1.
I was going to say that I have one person from the 1 o'clock calendar who may want to just go ahead and squeeze his plea in now.
No, we don't. No.
Okay.
No. All right. Everybody needs a break. Some people might actually have to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So let's take a break. We'll see you back at 1.